Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. My guest today is running for the Board of Education for San Ramon Valley Unified. He is a parent and also has a really great career outside of education in the engineering and tech world, and he brings a lot of that different perspective with problem solving and different potential for partnerships and different protocols with tech to the conversation, which I thought was great. So I think you're going to like the conversation. I think you should listen. I enjoyed it myself. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Kumar Nallusamy. Kumar, thank you for coming, sir, early on Sunday morning. Thanks for stepping in.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so you guys only have a couple more weeks until, the ballots come out, I think it's a week from now?
That's correct. Yeah, I think October 7th, officially they can vote.
Yeah.
And I think till November 3rd.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so they have about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks to get that in.
That's correct.
Man, it's the Board of Education race has, really come to the spotlight in all of the areas, because I think people see overwhelmingly how important these little decisions are that may seem little about, retroactive pay or what we're spending money on, or how we're organizing and communication with the teachers union. All of these things parents are feeling the effects of. How have you guys been affected?
I think, main thing is you brought up good point. How before the Board of Education, not many parents really paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic time only they realized what is going on, because whether the school in person is going to be offered, or how they are going to manage safety. That was because before the school end, there was a really they closed that one, but opening is going to be how that is going to be. A lot of parents was really looking for how that is going to be. It was every time they heard they are going to open in-person class, which is not most of the parents comfortable, because they are seeing outside states how that is going on, because the data shows it's not a comfortable to open it.
Right.
That's where a lot of parents really look at it, and they got connected with the Board of Education. That's why the big awareness happened. So
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, people start paying attention. They're much
Correct.
more aware of what's going on.
Right.
So, touching on it right out of the blocks, going back to school, this is one of the things that has polarized people the
Right.
most. You have some people that absolutely want to start back in no matter what. You have some people that are saying, hey, there's no way I'm sending my kid back in. And then you have a very large majority that don't really know what the right answer is.
Correct.
They think, okay, look, this is not the best job for my student.
Correct.
It's not the best situation, but going back may put them at risk. It may not be the best situation for the
Correct.
teachers, and it's so difficult to navigate. Where do you feel the best kind of sweet spot is?
If you look at it, I'm really on the ground. I'm meeting a lot of parents. I'm really talking to them directly, listening them directly. All the teachers is like younger kids, older kids, special ed kids, all nature, even some of the teachers and staff. I was able to fortunate to get connected and talk to them. It is a very multiple different perspective you can look at it.
Yeah, no kidding.
It is a younger kids. The parents wants to send them in person class, because they cannot really focus on. They don't know what to do, and it is very important. But at the same time, they are not really 100%. They want to send them. They want to see it, what the school district is really proposing, and what is the plan and the safety, because safety is a key.
Sure.
If you look at it, anything is any risk management, you can look at it low probability, high impact. The high probability, high impact. The two area always, any IT sector or anywhere, people look at it. Same thing is applicable here. And given that one, the younger kids, they want to really look at it. They want to send it as soon as possible. The second part is, if you look at it, the special education, another area, each kid is really need is different. Some kids is okay because based on the nature they are happy with the remote, but some kids they want to go in person because they can get more attention. Even though less people, they are really more comfortable in going in person learning. That's the second thing is. The third part is the older kids. Mixed thing is older kids they are happy, but they do see a challenges, whether it is not working or some of the issues they faced it. They want to see it how they can improve the school district that area. That way, even yesterday I was talking to one of the parent because the kid was in the class. He dropped out. He joined in. Uh, the kid doesn't know whether what to do next because he says he stayed all along, but he got a taddy.
Yeah.
The thing is, the teacher side also we can understand. They don't know really if they can check everybody there or not because when the class started, their focus was teaching. Because not all the parents is really well equipped in the technology because this is not a expected pandemic situation happened.
Right.
But this is because the teachers are great in teaching, but not with the combined technology. It is a really challenge whether did they get the proper training.
Right.
It is a big question because I want them to be feel comfortable teaching but not focusing on the technology. This is a area, I'm not really saying this is a gap or anything, but there is a improvement area which as a board of education or school district they have to seriously look at it how we can really help all the resource aligned. I'm not saying 100% is going to be a beginning. It can go start with the 60%. Even if you look at my Facebook page, they asked the question, I told them, I am as a parent, I will know there will be a problem. But please be patient with them and provide your suggestion how your needs can address. Because complaining is one, at least provide your valuable suggestion. That way at least you get what you're really expecting. I can come up with a proposal solution for you. It may work or may not work. That's my message for every time. But coming back to the in-person class, it's a very challenging right now. I think parents is not very clear, even though their email send out, you have option to choose, but it is not very clear, very convincing. Parents, even I was talking to even couple of students directly. Hey, there is a school of kids are really scared because they see it. If because they are seeing it, their loved one or the family, friends, somewhere, some news is really attached to somewhere. They are really feeling really afraid of to go to school in person. Even though parents sometimes comfortable, the kids level is not really that comfortable. That's a
sure.
Yeah, it's a very interesting because I'm on the ground. I'm meeting with a different perspective of people.
Right, and I think what you said is totally fair. I mean, if you there were a lot of points that you hit on, which let's say we all stay remote, right? And it looks like we're going to be staying remote for some time. Okay, fine. But you have to realize it's not just the teacher's ability to set up a Zoom call, right? Like it's not just their ability to set up a Google Meetup or whatever. The problem that you run into once you get everybody in the classroom is now you have to eventually start focusing on teaching. I have a 1-year-old, or excuse me, first grader, not 1-year-old, but it's first grader. And the poor teacher, she's on these Zoom calls with the students, and they're first graders. So they're asking all kinds of different questions, or they're raising their hand and then saying, hey, I can't hear you, or I can't see you, or I'm pinned to someone else. So she's spending so much time addressing those technological issues. It's not just that, hey, you have to be set up, but you have to almost have somebody who's completely engrossed in making sure that the students stay connected. And I can tell you from my standpoint, if I'm trying to teach math, right? Like I did a seminar recently on entrance essay seminar for San Ramon, and it was remote. Okay, so there were just 15 people in the class. It wasn't even that big of a class. 15 people in the class, and we're in the middle of talking about an essay, and all of a sudden somebody drops.
Correct.
And I don't know who dropped.
Exactly.
Because all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, there were 15 people, now there were just 14, and I could see that because the boxes with everybody's heads shifted. And I say, wait, who did we just lose? And now all of a sudden, I'm trying to talk about this essay, and I'm trying to answer students' questions, and I'm also trying to figure out who left, if the person is trying to get back, if I have some contact for them, because I don't want them to miss the class. I mean, they signed up for it and they paid for it. They want to be there. It's an enormous ongoing burden, and I don't think it's 100% fair, like you're saying, to expect the teachers to be able to focus on these two things simultaneously. Correct. It's just too much.
I think you made a great point, because this is a ongoing thing. Is even I was talking to parents, teachers, both the side. There is we have to deal with the situation. Is not going to go immediately. Kids is the kids. You have to understand, is the young kids need more attention. Even if you say multiple time, even that information need to flow through even parents to, hey, your kid is in the class, he or she may dropped out, what to do? Whether you call this number or you send this message or whatever the next step, that needs to be a precondition before starting the every class. You have to repeat.
Right.
So because that way, even the number of kids is there or not, whether a teacher can see it, because I didn't see the screen, how it looks like. And there are technology evolved, because I'm not sure whether how well, I'm not really saying the current system is working great. Always there is a better way of bringing.
Yes.
This happens in the March. Now we are in September.
Almost October.
Yes, October. Now, what action I know there are many priorities. Did we spend enough time to really focus? Somebody really task force team assigned specifically for how we are going to run this remote learning effectively. Focusing on in-person class, that is a secondary, but how we can make better things, what we have right now, what we need to do now. Is it happened? I do not have a really answer for that, because I don't have any visibility. But I do see that is a gap.
Right.
Because all along, you cannot really have this compliant right now. If I can see it at the beginning, 1 month, is fine. 2 months is fine, but not beyond. That means there is a big gap. I can see it.
Right. We can identify problems really quickly. I mean, I remember when I went on virtual, I didn't know what Zoom was until Saturday morning.
Correct.
And then we were virtual Sunday morning.
Correct.
So I learned in that first day, I had an iPad set up, and I was trying to show the iPad onto the screen, and I was connecting all these different wires, and then I figured out, okay, this isn't really working, or there's a better way to do it. And you need to figure that stuff out. And it's my understanding that the best way to find the best practices within a school or within any kind of organization is to have everybody trying to problem solve at the same time and say, hey, this is what I did to address this problem. And then other people can say, oh, that works, but I did this. And then you take the best of all of them. But it doesn't seem like that type of communication has occurred, because you still have these connection problems. You still have, attendance problems. You still have people trying to figure out who left and who didn't leave and all of these different things.
It goes both the side. Even one is the parent side. Hey, I faced these issues, how my kid was not able to get it. Same thing is teacher side. Hey, I'm able to successfully host my the class today with there are minimal what problem I faced, I was able to get on it.
Yes.
Maybe that is a sharing thing is a community, teacher to teacher, student to student, parents to parents. That needs to be there. But currently, do we have that system developed? That is where the IT come into the picture. Are we really focusing, investing that area? Because now we may be corona pandemic situation, there may be something else feature. Are we really protecting ourselves in that kind of mindset invest? That's why I'm looking forward to really, I'm bringing my background from the IT side. Technologically, we need to invite technology leader to help out. If you ask for it, people will help for it. But if you don't ask, people won't come and help you. That's where I'm making change.
And that makes a lot of sense. And just from from the sharing standpoint, which is,
Right.
hey, look, at the end of the day, it would have been as simple as, hey, report the 5 worst problems you have. You know,
Right.
just one quick email, and then somebody says, okay, look, 100 people reported they had this issue or that
Right.
issue,
Right.
and then what are the best ways to solve that? And then
Correct.
you iron it out. But you're right. I mean, this started in March,
Yes.
and here we are at the end of September, going
Right.
into October, and we're
Right.
still having these questions and these issues.
No, I strongly feel I'm not really blaming them, but there is not enough attention given. That's what my observation, because always different priorities, but the leadership coming to the play role.
Right.
If I say in this case, I would think is the Board of Education is a leadership. I know it is they are working on a part time, whatever it is, but with the limited their interaction. But is the school district need to be really take it to each area? Who is assigned for the communication? Who is assigned for technology? Who is assigned for this? The whole thing is execution. Did they do enough? What they did? See, these are the questions need to be brought up in the table. It's
Right.
not like I get a job, but if you're not right person, please get another person. Get the
Right.
job done.
If you don't know,
Yeah.
then just say, "Hey, look, I'm not
Yes.
the best resource here. You guys,
Right.
like, we should get someone else that knows this,
Yeah.
or these are my limitations."
Right.
Right. And it's hard to your point, it's hard to imagine that if this is the type of problem solving that is very obvious, because I mean, obviously, COVID is a
Right.
huge problem.
Correct.
And we're seeing firsthand the type of problem solving strategy that they have. And it doesn't appear to be working as well. I mean, you and I don't know specifics,
Right.
but it doesn't appear to be working as well as it could be. It's hard to imagine that the issue with these types of problem solving strategies don't produce bad results elsewhere. We're only paying attention now, like you
Correct.
said, because all of a sudden we have
Right.
COVID and we're all at home, so everybody realizes we have
Correct.
awareness.
Correct.
But there could be other problems
Correct.
that arise that we never even knew about, but never really got resolved. They just kind of were allowed to persist.
Correct. I think is the way when I was very initially Mr. Mark Zubat, I had a meeting with him very first when I started running this position. He is very helpful. Really appreciating him. Even Ken, Mr. Ken Mintos, he also spent time, and whenever I reached them, still they are very helpful. But the thing is, even when I was talking to them, we are in the technology. It's like a digital transformation period. So we need to really simulate this the whole classroom such a way, more interactive, more perspective. Because are we looking ahead, thinking big? Because I know everything needs to be planned and get it done, not immediately. But
Sure.
at least we should have a thought process. We should communicate to the public what we are doing, how we are going to apply. That really makes more confidence on us how that is going to be a board will act, right?
Right.
That is the thing is I really see it this need to happen more and more. It is if you look at it, I'm not saying the current board is really not doing well, but they did whatever their limitation, whatever their perspective, their understanding. But you need to have a new visionary leader coming to the picture and different perspectives like the IT side or a technology side. That's where I'm really making. I have been involved 10 years in the school services. Fremont and Sandram and multiple leadership positions like president, vice president, parliamentarian, historian, school site council member, then hospitality chair. If you name it, it's not like I want to run for board. I did this.
Yeah,
No,
right.
my passion was because this is brought up from. You might have seen that. Giving the value of the giving back community, I learned from my parents. So that's where I stepped into when I moved to US. I continued my passion, the services. Still, that's where whenever you ask for, sometime people says if you ask for a help or if you don't ask for a help, if I see a problem I can solve, I step in voluntarily. That's why I try to help them. But coming back to the school district, there are many things you can bring your expertise and knowledge. Even I always tell people you don't need to be a one person expert in all area, but you have to get all the expert in your team. That way you can jointly, collectively, strongly, you can, as a team, you can build better technology for our educational value for our student. That's
Right.
where I'm, yeah.
Right, and a lot has been talked about in Zone 2.
Right.
You have the 3 people running, and Priscilla, one of the candidates, is the only one of the 3 that has children in
Right.
the school district.
Right.
And she made a very good point saying, hey, look, you on the board right now,
Right.
we have the institutional knowledge. We have the people with years of service. We have the people with years of history and know-how. What we don't have is somebody with children in the school district. And your point is very, very well made, which is, hey, look, we have people who know how things have always been going, right? And we have people who know how to do a standard classroom, but we don't have people that are tuned into the digital revolution that has been accelerating faster and faster and faster. For instance, somebody was telling me about a month or two ago, this teacher asked for a new set of classroom calculators, and she said the problem is, I'm a math teacher, and the students come with their older siblings' calculator, and the calculators have the equations on them. Okay, so they just go in there, and you don't need to know distance formula or anything. They just hit these buttons, and they don't have to know it. And the teacher said, could you help me get these other, I think they were like TI 30s or some TI 31s, that can't store equations. And the person said, oh, yeah, that's no problem. We'll help you get them. But if you had somebody who understood the calculators a little bit, you could have told the math teacher, hey, before the test, every test, go through and just watch them wipe the memory. It's like a 2-button punch. You just have to know that you can make them wipe the memory. My physics teacher in high school did that. This is 25 years ago. And again, I looked at that and said, it's wonderful that we had the resources to provide these calculators for this teacher. And it's wonderful that she cared enough to say, I don't think my students are learning enough because there's a loophole here. Let's try to fill this loophole. But if we had somebody who was a little bit more technologically inclined, as you're saying, somebody who understands how to modify things, we can bring different solutions to problems. Instead of throwing several $100s at it, we say, hey, this is free. We can solve this right now. And then that communication could go out to all of the math teachers and something like that.
I think when you bring a good point, because this is the environment, every teacher, I think what I'm talking about, the passionate teacher. Because if you look at it, my learning when I was in 3rd grade student, I was just average student. But my teachers one time, he called me and said, hey, there is 2 kids did not show up to the class, go and bring them. I and a couple of kids, we went there and brought them, 2 kids. And the teacher asked why he didn't come. They said they did not have enough shirt. That's why they couldn't come. Then the class over. Then after a couple of days back, he brought 2 shirt for 2 kids. And then he gave, and he was talking about in the class why the education is very important. Because if you look at, my parents supported me. I learned, I studied well. I earned my degree. I'm a teacher now. I'm teaching you. So I'm supporting my parents, my family. Your parents can support certain level. If you study well, your life will be good. This is the exact statement he said. I don't know what triggered me. I was the best student that year, and from the never give up my the education. That's why I got my first engineering graduate from my family, and now I got my MBA, so I got my MS Engineering Management in Santa Clara. See, all those things is impacted. I call him Mr. Nallusamy. Is my 3rd grade teacher, is my hero in my career. I am committed to create that kind of environment. Every school here, every student needs to have their own hero in their career. That's the environment. How do you do that? This is where you need to really bring a right passionate teacher in the school. At least they need to treat them as every child is their own child. how they really look at it, what support, because kids is a kids, right? So because when they early enough, you seed them, you shape them, you grow them, you really help whatever support need, because the students may not be knowing what they really need to know, because that's the younger kids. That's a focus we need to create here. That kind of environment is coming back to, I don't know whether you saw the other thing is, I was meeting with a lot of parents. Even these are the question came up. Hey, some teacher is not teaching. I know some teacher is not teaching, and why they are not taking accountability? Is it? I always tell, hey, I'm not really. I call them our students, our future leader. Our teachers and staff are our heroes. That's why I call them.
Yes.
But still, there are some teacher is doing. I want really seriously school board or school district. I don't know what level they can go and check. But this is a thing is, I want to set this expectation. If they are not in the right job, I don't want them to be in the right job.
Right.
Please. I'm not really questioning their ability, capability, but the teaching is a passion.
Right.
They need to teach well. They need to take care of. I want to create an environment, right, passionate teacher to teach. Because some of the, even yesterday, I was talking to one of the parent, I think he was mentioning, this is a math teacher. He was advanced student, and he came and he was performing, but he is not performing here. There is some gap they noticed. They moved from another school district to here. They are trying to reach a teacher to really find out what is going on. They are not able to get any answer. Even that teacher puts the last day of just to submit a grade is gone. So nobody knows. I think these are the area we need to really look at it, why this is happening, because this is a policy set by Board of Education. Are we doing right thing? If it is a teachers union, we need to really negotiate with them what kind of thing is we are setting for our future leader.
Right.
We need your support. If anything we could help you to succeed, we are here to support. But the thing is, I want to change this perception. Hey, we are here to help. Oh, I'm here with the union. Nobody can touch. No, that kind of attitude need to change.
Right.
Yes.
And so there's been a lot of talk about the relationship between the Board of Education and the teachers union, because there are some candidates that the teachers union is supporting and some that aren't. And obviously, coming forward, we need the teachers union and the Board of Education to be on the same page. Everybody has to be focused on providing the education for the students and supporting the teachers, supporting students, supporting the schools. But how do you think we could effectively navigate talking to the teachers union and having a more upfront conversation and saying, look, the majority of the teachers are doing a great job. But if we stop trying to get the best teachers in here, then nobody's doing a good job. If the teachers union protects teachers and really goes to bat for teachers that quantitatively are not doing a good job, and the Board of Education says, hey, look, we got to work this out, how do you think it would be best to and by the way, I'm not saying the teachers union does do that. I'm just saying by your position, after a certain number of years, it's very hard to remove a teacher that, as you're saying, may not really still have a passion for it or may not be doing the best by the kids.
I think that's, I really respect the union side. I think the one thing is what I see, even any working environment, they go through their cycle, whatever they protected, that is respectful. But the thing is, the other way I look at it, I want to set a very clear expectation. You are doing a passionate job.
Right.
If you are not doing passionate job, then you need to rethink, is it the right job for you?
Right.
The union, teacher union need to set a very clear expectation. Hey, we are doing our job better. I was looking at yesterday, what is the best ratio across America? 16 kids is to one teacher. but what is our ratio? Probably double.
Right.
So we need to look at it how we can bring a more. Maybe teachers are overloaded or they are really stressed out. We need to look at it how we can really bridge that gap, or what are the resources we need, what are the support we need. We need to look at that perspective also. But again, my message is very clear. They have to be passionate teaching. You need to have a right. The thing is, if you look at it, the builder relationship is a very important. That's why I said to build trust and transparency. One of the your voice is my voice. Build trust and transparency. How do you build a trust and transparency? You have to understand, hey, Matt, this is what I have, this is what I can do. Same thing is, I can tell the board of the teachers union what we have, what you're asking. This is the thing is, we need to set a clear tone for across the teachers union. Or they may have a different story. I want to hear from them and see where we can really bridge the gap.
Right, their perspective is totally unique to them.
Important.
We have to find out what it is.
We don't know, because even a lot of time, even I was talking to even a couple of teachers. There is that is why even last one of the debate I mentioned. Dr. Malla is a great hire in our school district based on my couple of interaction, but I want him to look at the organization structure, how it is set it up. Is it easy enough to everybody? It's not a one-way direction communication. It should be a mutually with no fear. Hey, I can go and talk to Dr. Malla level. It is easy to really communicate without any fear. That need to be changed. Again, see, those kind of thing is because for executing the work, they have to really open communication need to be improved. Whether do we have a right staff or more staff or less staff, or do we have a less teacher or more teacher. This is the thing is they have to ongoing way they need to look at it and fine tune where they can make a difference. If that is not this is, I always tell, this is not a game. You set a 10 thing is at the end I win, lose. No. This is a growth mindset. You need to be really thinking how I can do better than yesterday.
Right.
That kind of mindset you need to bring it to everybody. There is no I think is the win or lose. This is ongoing. We are making better for our student educational values. That's one goal they need to think everybody, because ultimately teachers are parents.
Right.
So they need to think this is their own kids. They are future leader. How we can support them, help them, at least be a better good citizen or future leader. That is support comes from the teacher. Coming back to your point to how do you build a relationship, this is going to be open communication. If I sit on the table, if they come with the 10 things they want to ask, well, definitely they can ask, but do we have a resource for 10 things to really offer for them? Maybe right. I may have a resource for 5 things. I can ask them to rank it. What is the top 5 things you want to now?
Right.
Then they can prioritize top 5. I say, hey, what I have, this is what I have. I want to very open, honest, but still, I'm continuing to work on the next 5 things is how I can support to really work with the community or a technology leader or a ed fund, PTA, or wherever you think really you can invite a local entrepreneur or a technology outside. They can really help out. Then we can work on phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. That kind of thing is, if we set that clear tone, the relationship will not get spoiled. But if I know that I cannot do it to 5, 10, the moment people will say, oh, I cannot do that. So that's where the people, they don't open the mouth. The relationship will get broke. That is where I see a gap that need to be changed. I will make that difference because I always believe in the relationship is going to be really help us to make success our future leader.
Right. And to your point, and this is a It's kind of an embarrassing admission.
Right.
Okay, so I've been tutoring for almost 20 years. I'm going on, it's going to be 17 years in December. So I'm coming up on 2 decades. And I still answer the same questions that people asked me when I first started tutoring. And I think about that sometimes because parents will say, oh, well, you know, what about this test? Why do you think March is better than June? It's like, well,
Correct.
you know, June you're taking finals and you're at the end of your year, you're pretty tired. And so again, you have to answer those questions over and over and over.
Correct.
And sometimes I wonder, it's like, gosh, doesn't this seem obvious to everyone? Now, of course, I never say that to the people I'm talking to.
Correct.
But I always come back to, of course it's not obvious. They've either never done it before or they don't understand the nuances of these things.
Correct.
And because I always take the time to explain at length and make sure that everybody understands, I have very, very easy communication with my parents because they realize, oh, these are all of the reasons we're doing it this way. And so what I think you're saying is like, look, if you want to come to the table and say, we want this or we want this, then, and the person responds not from, okay, I'll explain this one more time, or like, I've already explained this. It's like, no. We need to go through carefully and slowly the answers for all of these questions. Even if it was explained 10 times, let's do it one more time. Because then it allows people to understand, like you're saying, the trust, the transparency. I'm always willing to explain it to you. You may not agree with the answer, but I have a very clear answer that I'll outline for you.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, that is a limitation always have parents can ask, but again this is another thing is because the frequently asked questions, right? Even parents can ask the same question. Hey, the other day I was in the Facebook page, people saying, hey, I don't know whether my thing is not working, I got locked out, how to reach a school district. They have some kind of the parents not knowing, and somebody says, yeah, I reached out to him or sent email and they said call, but never happened. There are communication need to be really very open. Whether it is going to reach 100% of parents, not first time. Maybe you need to see it to start really sending 60 or even you send everybody, maybe 60% of people pay attention, because unless they have a problem, they don't pay attention. So this is where ongoing, at least somewhere, if you have an issue, please go to this website or see that please select your problem, see that whether your problem suggestion or whom to contact. These are the IT web portal needs to be set up clearly. That really is going to eliminate a lot of parents' frustration. If I know this, hey, I can go here, okay, call this number or send an email, my problem gets solved, then people won't really bother other people. This is one of the area we need to continuously provide the support or the new area development need to be happen. That is a technology again coming back to play major role. It's not about a human resource. It is a technology now is how you can do the job better. I can do the same work for 8 hours. I can do the same work for 2 hours. How do you do that? I have a tools and resource that really help me to put together. I can go manually calculate everything and come up with a graph, everything. No, I punch a 4 number. I get my presentation ready. This is the thing is we want to make these technology changes in the district level.
Right. And again, as you pointed out a bit ago, we are evolving. We're constantly evolving. And on the board, we have people who have seen that evolution with teachers and curriculum and all of the different stuff. But we are, as very obvious right now, lagging in technological understanding and people that understand how to work through these problems to be more efficient. I think it was Greg Marvel said he got something like 10,000 emails one day. And it's kind of like, okay, obviously if somebody's emailing you, they want to talk to you. They have found your email. They're trying to reach out to you. And nobody could respond to 10,000 emails a day. So that type of system guarantees the majority of people will feel unheard. It guarantees the majority of people will not feel like their concerns are getting addressed. There has to be a better system in place to help more people, one, have their questions answered before
Right.
they even have them. They could find the information very quickly, so they never email. And then for the people that do email, having a better way to answer those emails, better way to have that communication.
So the thing is, that brings another question. 10,000 email, why does a Board of Education president need to look at it?
Right.
First of all, there is a two thing in to answer. Why 10,000 email is coming up? Okay. So second thing is why Board of Education, that means there is something serious issues going on.
Right.
So then 10,000 people is sending email. That means there is a serious thing has happened. Do we have a task force team to address that one? It's not a one person. Board of Education president can look at the email. That is a wrong way of
Right.
really looking at. I really want really. This thing is need to be automated. The thing is, if you cannot really rely on human to go and look at thing is, the thing is, you have to really categorize whether it's listed. Somebody is really automatically. I was talking to one of the artificial intelligence architect,
Sure.
and I was really talking to him. Hey, I know that the technology evolved. Are you really willing to help out for a student to really this kind of thing is help out the school district? He said wholeheartedly, I'm willing to really support it. See, this is where you need to connect and bring people. Right now, you can look at this email. You can, what is the message? You can categorize and come up with the answer as quickly as possible. The
Right.
parents look at it, maybe this is a repeated email. I didn't get an email. I send another email. I didn't get a reply.
Right.
Another email. See, maybe repeated email. Maybe it's ultimately boiled down maybe 100 or 50 categories.
Right.
So you need to really look at that, how you can really solve this one is like automating way using the technology.
Right.
That's a very important, because unless you do that, I don't want the people. I can hire 100 people. That still is not going to solve that issue.
Right. Right.
It's not going to work.
Right, and you have, I mean, I'm not
Right.
saying this happened, but you have with social media, it's become much easier to mobilize large
Correct.
groups of people. So
Right.
it wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility for people to say, hey, if you're not happy with what's going on right now, you need to write an email to, such and such, this guy right now, here's his email, just send him email saying that you're not happy. I mean, we have all types of programs like this, like GoFundMe or a couple of the names are escaping me right now, but it's very easy to mobilize a huge number of people. But it's a very poor way to effectively communicate, because what it is just a mass. It's just a mob of people shouting, saying, hey, we're not happy about this. And you can't respond to a mass collection of people or emails and just say, individually take their questions. It's just too much. So I get what you're saying, that look, we need, if you have somebody who understands artificial intelligence and those responses, I mean,
Right.
Google's doing a fantastic job with it. And
Right.
you have all those different resources, and that again enhances the communication from the community to the Board of Education.
Yeah, same thing goes here, because if you look at it, my website, Kumar for SRVUSD.com. If you go there, share your thoughts and ideas. If you go that form, I have listed 6 or 7 category. I can add more, but the thing is, when people share it, whether it is education or it is their ideas or concern, you can really select whether it is a library or a classroom or communication. You can select which category. They can send their issues. That way, you can categorize, you can focus on which one is a higher priority. So if you see others is more categories, some of the categories not there, you can keep add it. That way you can prioritize and communicate better. But if you don't do that, then it is everybody is going to send. You don't know what you are really figuring out, whether it is fall
Right.
into the library issues or classroom issues or grading issue or counseling issue. We don't know which one you are talking about.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the one thing is I would recommend really Board of Education as when I become a board member, I'm going to really seriously look at it, how we can do better communication. That's one of the areas because right now, not many parents when I was in the ground, many parents understood the Board of Education responsibility. It is a very unfortunate because now the pandemic only a lot of people stepped up and look at it. Again, even I was involved 10 years the school services in a different position, PTA, head friends, so all areas. But when 2 years back, yeah, that time only I went to interacted with our Board of Education. I used to meet with the mayor with the breakfast and meet connected with the people. But one of the area is people do not really have what they do. One very simple thing is I want to point out to our parents, all the listeners. If you look at it, the Board of Education, there is a 5 things they can remember. One is they set up a clear vision and goal. The vision and goal is very simple. Okay, how the school needs to be achieved, what kind of vision and goal they need to achieve. Second, the hiring a right superintendent and teacher, retaining teachers. The organization structure, how the communication flow, the set up the organization structure, that is a second. The third one, you provide all the resource and support to execute the vision and goal to achieve. That is the third one. The fourth one, when set a goal and vision, are we doing align with whether we set up for example grading 98% score, are we really doing 98%, are we doing 95 or 94, what needs to be changed to achieve 98? This need to be a performance review for teachers, students, or the board or school district, everybody performance. Are we, I said 10 thing is, are we achieving on track 10 thing is? That performance review need to happen. How frequently, that need to be set it up clearly, because you don't want to be at the year end, oh man, I couldn't really do it. No, we have to do it at least to quarterly basis, how we are performing, or they are seeing any issues, can we modify? As I said before, right, this is not a game set of rule we know, this is a constantly you have to really revise and make things better. And the fifth one is the board member is a public elected official. You have to represent, you are a public leader, you have to represent the public. Hey, we set it up for the beginning, we were based on our review, we are here, we are making some changes, we may need your support, we may need your help, but we are trying to reach out to some resources, but hope we are going to achieve whatever message you need to keep communicate. Do you have any suggestion from? That's where I was telling, these are the communication need to go through. I was telling I would propose a town hall meeting at every high school, 2 to 3 months frequency, whether now it's a virtual, then if you go to in person we can have. I want to hear from them directly, students, parents, teachers and staff directly, their ideas and suggestion or concern. We can learn and at least to perform well. You have to communicate and see, this is the 5 critical thing is very important for any the school board responsibility.
Right.
But that's a very critical thing is, if we don't do that, we don't know what we are doing.
Right, right. And when, to your point, okay, so
Yeah.
when my boy was going to Green Valley,
Right.
Green Valley Elementary, he was in first grade.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher did not allow volunteers in the classroom, and they were learning a specific type of math. Now,
Right.
my wife and I are tutors, like that's
Wow.
what we do. So
Right.
we looked at the math and we're like, how are they having them do this? And it was a struggle initially for my wife, who again is a teacher, to say, oh, wait, what specific method would they want? And what I was thinking about is, to your point, look, if we could field suggestions,
Correct.
right, I would have suggested that, look, here's the major problem. Let's say we have 24 kids in this class, and each
Right.
of those kids has at least one parent that can help with math.
Right.
So we have the teacher and then 24 other parents. Under normal circumstances, with
Right.
teaching normal arithmetic and things like that,
Right.
you'd have 25 teachers. You'd have the one teacher and the 24 parents, okay?
Right.
Under the way you guys are doing it now with different methodology and whatever you think of that
Right.
methodology, it's different. As it is right now, you only have one teacher instead of the 25.
Right.
Because again, even for my wife, it was a little bit of a struggle initially to say, wait, how are they doing this? What they could have done, which would have been so easy, is every week publish a 5-minute video that goes directly to parents where the teacher says, this is the type of math we're doing, this is the methodology, just so you know, and the teacher shows it to them. Because what we end up doing is asking my first grader, okay, how are you doing this? And he tries to explain it to us, and then we have to look at these examples, and they don't quite make sense, and it's all photocopied, so it's not very high quality. If they had just asked, hey, does anyone have a suggestion? Does anyone have a better way of doing this? First off, does anyone have a problem? And we say, here's my problem. And then we come with I have a problem, but I have a suggestion. And
Right.
by the way, we can do this with an iPhone. You don't need a large tech setup. You need
Right.
just an iPhone. You need vision, and you need a structure to apply and get
Correct.
there. And
Correct.
then you could have gone from just one teacher in the classroom and
Right.
all of the other 24 parents having no idea what to do. You could have gone back to the 25 teachers. All of the parents could have taken part then in the student's education. But there was no communication. Nobody asked, hey, what are the problems? And then what are the solutions?
There is a very good point you brought it. This is where I said teacher, they have to be a passionate.
Right.
They have to be a growth mindset. If they are not growth mindset, they are not fit for that job. Sorry to say this, but I want to really reiterate. That's a mindset that we need to bring down.
We get to say that
And-
for any
yeah.
other profession.
Yeah.
If you're a coffee barista and you hate coffee or
Right.
you hate customers, that's not the right person to
Correct.
work at Pete's Coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one thing is, and another thing is the recording thing is even all the colleges record. They have a technology.
Right.
They can go and even I did take even classes. Some of the classes even Santa Clara. So I did graduate from Santa Clara. My MS Engineering Management. I did take some of the decision analysis from the Stanford. And I think is there is 400 kids. You cannot go to the kids. They have to really the 400 students. They need to learn from the recorded session. But again, I brought this one is here because sometimes the student is maybe tired,
Sure.
not focusing, or they maybe drop out that day, maybe sick. One of the thing is what I'm saying is I don't know whether younger kids whether it is works or older kid it works, and we need to see it, the technology setup is there. This will help for teachers also, because when you teach the class, they should not I think we are not really recording the kids, only the session what teacher really teaches in the class. You record that one. Before putting it, is there anything you don't want to see kids maybe cross or anything, you eliminate the images. You can
Right.
have a better software before uploading. This is going to be a helpful both the side, because there are many parents in technologically they are very well, and they are really good at it, or they can look at it. It's not about suggestion, because they can at least help their kid.
Right.
Such a way really work. But not only that, even if you look at it to the older kids, I was talking to some of the high school kids, they really love that if the session is recorded.
Right.
And if it is a session is recorded, they even if I don't understand, I want to really listen one more time and see where the missing part.
Right.
They can understand better. These are the area the technology will help. But I think I heard is there is a privacy issues stopping the Board of Education set of the policy. But again, I would like to really revise that policy and see. I always tell whether is it adding a value to educational student education value. My answer vote is there. You ask for that, then you can explain to the parents. They can understand better. It's not about we are really privacy we are doing. We are really helping our student values. That
Right.
that need to be really look at it.
Right, right. And again, there are so many different ways
Right.
that you could record one end of the conversation.
Right.
You don't have to record other people. You don't have to record the
Yeah.
other students. And it's just like you're saying, we need more of a collaboration.
Correct.
We need more community involvement because, again, the wealth of knowledge in the San Ramon and Danville community
Correct.
is tremendous. I mean, just present the problem to the community.
Correct.
I'd be willing to bet there are like 100 people who would come back and say, hey, I got a solution, or we
Correct.
could try this, or, if you've already tried this, we could try that. I mean, but again, it has to be, you have to have a passion, you have to have that vision, and then collaborate with people.
Yeah, that's right. Even that brings another thing is before I think the teacher, if you look at it, they take a lot of parents asked me, oh, I think some teacher is not grading well, some teacher is grading good, and I really constantly talk to teachers and some of the principals, and then I understood the school district they have a teacher has the option to pick up any grading method.
Right.
Then I asked what are the grading. They said two, standard and traditional. Oh, which one is really better? And then I found out standard is a very difficult to earn a grade. Maybe some smaller portion of kids can earn higher grade. Traditional is they can help the kids to really give them more homework and they help them to earn grade. It's a student educational value if you look at it. I would prefer to why everybody use a traditional method. Why some of them is their preference they use and kids is not earning grade. Their career is screwed up.
What are the for those listening? What are the two differences between traditional and standard?
See my understanding was that there is a two grading, traditional and standard. Standard is proficiency. You need to be exactly 90 means 90. You don't get the grade.
Right.
But if it is a traditional, you get a 89. The teacher can help to give some homework,
like
to
extra
earn.
credit
Yes,
or something like
they
that.
can earn. Still, they can make it 90. They can be a instead of B.
Right.
But standard, whether you meet 90 or you don't meet 90, either you fall in A or fall in B. That's a really unfortunate to hear that, because I always look at it. Every student need to be success in such a way. That's where your help and support needs to be passionate way, not like this is my way. You come my way, then you pass it. Otherwise, you don't know. That doesn't work. That need to be changed. That culture need to be changed.
What do you think would be the ideal grading situation?
So what my understanding is, I didn't know the story from the teacher side. I need to understand why they pick standard, why it is a grade that one. If some specific teachers that is better, I need to really understand more. But based on my unlimited understanding, the traditional is a much more better for kids to earn a grade. So that's why we need to look at it both the side. Why that is, we need to set the clear direction to the. If this needs to be negotiated from the teachers union, I'm willing to do that. This will build a relationship. If you're going to explain, then we have to make it happen. Part of the when you set up the vision and goal, right? That itself we need to set it up. There should not be any discussion later.
Here's something for you.
Right.
Okay, so I hear students talk about their grades every single year, every single quarter, semester, everything, and you see these two grading methods play out where you have the standard where the teacher says, hey, look, 90.0 is an A, and anything beneath 90.0 is not an A.
Right.
And then you have students that get really upset about that.
Yeah.
If you have a more traditional standpoint where you essentially say the teacher says, all right, anything above an 89.5 is an A. I'll give you 5/10.
Right.
If somebody gets an 89.4, they're going to ask for the A.
Right.
So then the teacher says, okay, anything above an 89.0 is an A.
Right.
Well, then somebody's going to get an 88.9, and they'll say, hey, can I get... So, but my point is, it's better... There is a line of thought that says it's better to help the student get the grade, because if you got an 88.9, that's really close to an A.
Right.
And then there's another line of thought that says, look, no matter what you make the mark, no matter what, if you make it 88, if you make it 89, if you make it 90.0, there will always be a portion of students that get just close enough but don't get there. So you're going to have people that will always try to make an argument that they did enough to get the A. But that just promotes, instead of saying, hey, look, if you want a 90.0, you can ask me questions. I can help you see how you can get that. I can support you. I can maybe come in at lunch and I can tutor you then. But the A is 90.0, and it puts more pressure on the student trying to learn instead of the student trying to argue about the grade. Do you think that the conversations that we would ultimately have to have with the traditional are beneficial enough that more people get the grades, even if they don't get that like 90.0 mark?
Yeah. See, the thing is, this is an option given to the students, right? Because we want to really give a option to the student hand. Some student, they want to really earn the grade. Obviously, most of the students will like to earn the grade. They don't want to lose the grade. Maybe the situation, circumstances, they didn't make that grade initially, but if you give that option, maybe that day may be sick. Today he or she may really willing to work on that homework. We want to help them. That option, that's why I said the teacher, they have to think the growth mindset to help the students' educational value in such a way. They will remember, I want them, that's why I said, right, I have my teacher, my hero in my career. This environment need to create, every student really feel, oh, she really helped and made things work. I'm able to score my grade well. If she didn't give the opportunity, I might not be in this level. They will think later in the future. That needs to be really look at it. That needs to be set a clear tone when you set a clear direction, because then everybody we can understand.
Right.
If you don't set clear direction, if you give a choice, you maybe whatever you feel comfortable, you'll pick it.
Right.
That option need to be eliminated, or we need to relook at it, why that option is better than, why standard is better than traditional better than, whether it is a preference teacher or it's aligned with the teacher, or some subject maybe that is a better.
Right.
We need to look at it.
Right. Something like, say, English, it would be better to give a more traditional, slightly more flexible, or your ability to write. It always turns out that when you start a writing course or an English course, you're very, very poor at it, but you're being asked to do it, and then you get better and better and better. In chemistry, when you start chemistry, you don't know anything about chemistry, so the grading there is far different. The way that you learn, the way that you improve. So I get what you're saying. Perhaps different subjects use different types of grading, but get everybody on the same page.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So that's a very important look at it again. If you the grading part is definitely we need to seriously look at it, and so again I think all area, there are many area. Even I brought it kind of categorized. If you look at it, we talked about the communication is one of the gap, because I'm talking to the parents. That needs to be really addressed. Is like whether technology, one, and the second thing is the town hall meeting to directly listen, and the curriculum. So the curriculum is, that's what I'm looking for. It is how, I don't know what was the year last time they revised. Right now we are in the digital transformation and AI and new technology. When they go to college, is it really going to help? I'm not really against learning more history, but history is good. But you need to really think about the technology class need to be bring it in the school level. The technology, the industry people, we can bring it. That is a combined class for weekly one day, because not all the kids student may be interested, or there are many of them might be interested, because if we don't know, then when you go and understand, that really make more interesting. This sounds good. If you look at it, right, artificial intelligence, again, hey, how are you? When you put H, they know that you are going to type how are you, or good morning, or whatever it is. You are not really typing it, just at the end click. It is a much faster and better, right? This technology, how that works, I'm not saying you need to teach 100% here, but to create the foundation here, make the awareness. That kind of thing is we need to really change in the early enough. And the all areas, younger kids, right, you need to really see that what else you can bring it. You cannot have the older, whatever the education we brought, the curriculum, that needs to be revised. Because I always believe in teacher is the best person to really suggest what is working, what is not working. Again, is a constantly they can really listen to expert in the technology, bring them, they can show them. A lot of time, if you are not providing training to teacher, always there will be resistance. But you can really provide them training that makes them more comfortable to the job. So these are the things, the curriculum side, they need to look at it.
Do you think right now that there are issues with the curriculum, or is it more of just the idea that the philosophy that we need to constantly evolve, we need to constantly develop?
That's what I say. I'm not saying currently the constantly evolve, because we are in the technology evolve area, but we are not really looking the changes. Again, the same thing is curriculum. They call it the Black Lives Matter. So why? We should pause and understand why this issue is faced by our African American community. What we are doing it. It is inclusivity, right? Because you need to look at it. The fundamentally, this is not created now. This is going on maybe decades, right? But when you change something, I always tell education is the first place to really make change. You bring the change in the younger kids. They can learn, understand, this is what is right, what is not right. They can be a better citizen, future leader in their career. But what happened the older kids? You bring the expert in the outside industry. At least they can collaboratively interact and explain why this is created, what we can solve, how as a team we can help. This is an ongoing thing. Is that way you really seed that inclusivity in the younger generation, then it will go slowly. And I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight. This is evolvement happen at the early. That is the curriculum I'm really talking about.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, it is very important to look at it every area. As I said, this is not a game. We have to constantly look at it, where you have to have some kind of thought process. Can we improve this? How faster, better, whether it's value added.
Right.
We need to look at it. And the other areas I was talking about, the counseling. The counseling is, if you look at it, there is two areas. If you look at it, even I can split up three areas. It's like emotional and social. Whether anything happens suddenly, even family or friends or school, whatever network, kids has to, that environment need to create. These are the services available in the school. If anything happen, please reach out the school, because when third person going to talk to the kids, they can openly share why how they can really tell a story, or they can really talk to them in such a way, because they are expert. That's really going to help. The second part is the career counseling, academic or career counseling. If you look at it, I was talking to one of the school principal. I was telling, I know is 450 kids one counselor is really very less. They can do whatever they can do, but how do you really make maybe 100 kids one counselor, whatever requirement, how many request comes, we need to really bring this one is supportive. Our counselor in the school, they are the best people to really coach them, mentor them to be successful, because they know their performance grade in the system. They can look at it one shot, because now parents are hiring outside. They are paying 3,000, 10,000, whatever money.
Oh, absurd! And for counseling stuff like that.
Yes. Why? Maybe we can come up with a better way of managing this. But my opinion, that is a critical thing, is to help our student in the school, high school level. This is very important, because the beginning, I was telling, instead of one-on-one, they need to schedule it. Have a very frequent monthly or whatever frequency. Sometime, hey, what is the academic thing is generally everybody needs to know. Then just to have a town hall or open forum, just to give that everybody can understand. Then second, if you have a specific needs question, please schedule now. Then they already know that what is, because you don't want to schedule one by one for the basic things to know. It's never going to happen. But there is a basic, then is advanced, then specific needs. That needs to be really communicated and aligned. The third one is specifically college preparation. Academic career is both are in line, but the focus is what subject the academic I was talking about before. What subject I can take, what is my focus, my thinking, what is my interest, that can go early, because it is ongoing, right, from freshman to all the year, right? But the college career support is come to the junior or senior year. They need a more focus. Now they are better fixer. They're whether the PSAT, right? They said the SAT, how they can prepare, whatever the standard the college or UGs are requiring. What are the tools and technology available? How we can bring them here? We can give more for college preparation. See, there are the three area critical thing is you need to have our counselor on site to help. That is a very important really area. It is a currently big gap I can think of.
It's Kumar, you hit on so many things here. I mean, that they're all very intense. A couple things, if I may. So the first thing you said, the social emotional counselor. Doherty Valley is such a tremendous academic institution. I mean, you have students that are scoring a national merit recognition left and right, and for justifiably, they work insanely hard. I have a very good friend who was a fireman in the Palo Alto school area, and he was there when there was this massive wave of suicides that was going through, and I mean, a horrific thought, especially as a parent myself. It's like, God, that just sounds like a nightmare, and it was, there was such an intense culture around academics, such an intense culture around achievement and gaining admission into the right school, and what it meant if you got a B when you were in 7th grade. I mean, how that played out over the rest of your academic life. That students just cracked under the pressure, and there was this huge, wave of just younger people feeling like there wasn't any more reason to keep going. And Doherty Valley has always stuck out to me as being enormously successful, but I worry about that area sometimes, because you do demonstrate such success in the academic, quantitative area, but making sure whatever can be done to not go the way of the Palo Alto School District that experienced kids taking their lives. I mean, it's a terrible thing, and we don't talk about that as much. We don't.
Yeah.
We expect parents to take care of it. We expect students to deal with it, but the schools could also become a resource. Teachers spend an enormous amount of time face to face with these students, and they could say, "Hey, look, I think this guy's kind of struggling. Do you want to, hey, can you just hang out for like half an hour after school and just chat with this person?" Those teachers could be the first line of defense for somebody who's struggling socially or emotionally.
It is definitely, because if you look at it, when I was in PTC president, Mission San Jose, so we do support through PTA, hiring or the same schools whose teacher get paid extra effort for helping the kids who is not meeting.
Yes.
We can help them to meet that needs, because I do gone through that. Then we do support the extra money for the hiring a counselor for support.
Right.
But another thing is, if you come back to the high school level, I'm really, when you ask the question, it's a very important to parents to understand first.
Yes.
We have to put a mandatory 2-hour counseling pass. Whatever the training we can, because there are so many training is available. If you look at it, the industry, there is a sexual harassment. All the supervisor, manager mandatory take every two years. California government mandate. Similar thing is, when you are in a high school kid, if you are a student, if you are going, you are a parent, you have to complete this one. That way, they can understand the student side. Same thing is even teachers. Everybody, they have to go through this one. Similar thing is students. They have to really go through some kind of training, at least to pass that one. That really help them to the mindset. Hey, if you are not able to do it, don't worry. What is the resource available?
Right.
What I can go and talk to them.
Right.
These are the thing is, parents, hey, your kid is not performing well, or what do you want to really perform? Or most of the parents, they have a passion or vision, thought their kid want to be, right? If your kid is not performing, what do you need to do? See, these are the things lay out. That is a training I'm talking about. They have to mandatory. If that goes, this kind of problem early enough to identify, we will not lose any lives.
Right. And again, you say, you even if you sit down the students and the parents and just say, look, you need to understand.
Right.
The road that you're embarking on for this goal is very hard.
Correct.
And we are here for you, but you need to understand, if you see these warning signs, if you start feeling this way, you can come in. This is the person, wave to the person, hello person, the person's there, and you introduce them, and so they feel that connection. Because it was like when my wife, when we had our first baby, the nurse was wonderful, and she was very quick to remind us. She said, look, what you guys are going into, it's wonderful, it's amazing, it's fantastic, it's also risky. So she was very quick to tell my wife and tell me, look, you guys need to support each other. If you see something out of the ordinary, you need to trust each other. You need to listen to each other, because, again, having your first kid, or any kid, is a very, very difficult thing to do. And for first-time parents, it's a scary thing. And I think it could be a similar kind of partnership in high school, keeping people together. Now, the third aspect of counseling that you brought up, the educational counseling for college counselors, as you're pointing out. People are spending an enormous amount of money. And yes, I think it's very obvious that, hey, look, there could be more guidance and more attention given to each student. When you're dealing with students that are applying to, say, 10 schools, which is a very medium amount of schools. I mean, you could apply to 20 schools very easily. You're dealing with all kinds of essays. You're dealing with so many different applications. And that's a very difficult thing if you have even, 200 students. I mean, if you have 200 students and each student writes 10 essays, that's 2,000 essays that you would have to read. There has to be a better system for helping students navigate these essays that are at once very, very important and at the same time super time consuming. And they want revisions.
Yes.
They want lots and lots of revisions. But when when the SAT and ACT become no longer part of the application, again, Doherty
Correct.
Valley, very, very successful
Correct.
and all the schools in the district are very successful at meeting the standards in these quantitative ways. How do you see counseling people towards college, but helping them enrich their applications with things outside of, say, the SAT or ACT?
See, there is two things they need to look at it. If you look at it, the freshman or freshwoman, they start ninth grade. This is we have to, in general, hey, so far what you have done, at least to start writing, come up with one page essay and put together. One thing is, maybe the frequency may be less, or they can generally look at it, they can have a one overview, hey, everybody done, or some kind of specific if we need. This is the ongoing things that they can really add more and more. So this is the support, maybe, so they can look at it, what the input generally the UCs or look at it. That guidance needs to be really early enough to share with the even not only even sometime the counselor or the school. I remember they want them to, kids need to take a leadership. That's what they say. But still, you have to really give the awareness to the parents also. Hey, what we are doing, we are providing a support. They can also coach them. Nothing wrong. But ultimately the input needs to come from the each stage, whether it is 9th grade, 10th grade, junior and senior. But the level of involvement is start with the initial beginning, more and more go really high when they reach junior and senior. But how do you prepare them? This is we have to have a resource aligned. You can share them some good examples. Somebody wrote it. Nothing wrong to really look at it. What kind of good essay people wrote it, because it is available. They can look at it. They can think when you see it. Oh, I missed this one. Oh, I can add this one. So that kind of thing will help. But again, each student nature of what they worked on is different. But at least that will resource, if we provide a more resource, that is going to really help them to succeed. But that can be really doable. But again, that's two part. One is the real counselor. Another thing is the resource. You can access that resource through secure access.
Right.
So that really helps.
And at some point, you have to give the people the tools, and then
Correct.
you say, look, if you use them or not,
Right.
that's up to you. But
Correct.
we have 25 different example essays of low quality to high quality, and you have somebody you can talk to after you've read these, but you got to work a little bit. I think one of the allures to the expensive college counselors is that they will walk you through every single step, right? They'll hold your hand. They won't require that you read these essays. So it requires very little upfront effort, and you have to pay a lot of money for that. But there are a lot of resources, even right now to this day, that you can take advantage of, that you just have to put the work in.
Correct.
They might be free, but they cost you time.
Yeah, it's again same thing is you can bring that essay. They can start writing the draft, the final exam, whatever. This can be added to that thing is they can at least additional extra credit or whatever you call
right.
it. Then you can bring that enhance that essay next year. They can, because nothing is free. As long as you give some credit, then it will work. If you don't give that one, they don't really work.
Right.
You have to really align with them. Maybe this is a 3 credit or 2 credit. You can add that to the subject. Then you can bring it.
Right.
That really helps, and the student can prepare and bring it.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking. That's
Gotcha.
going to be added value. That's a
Gotcha.
good question. Yeah.
I try. Yeah.
Right. It's a very important. Yeah. So the other thing is, I was telling college preparation. We talked about, I think, the teachers and staff. And I had an opportunity to talk to Mrs. Rebecca Khan, our assemblywoman, because Our district also is the lowest, the second lowest funded district, right?
Unbelievable.
And
yeah.
another thing is, I told why. Yeah, that is the way it is set up right now. That is a different question. The second one is what I read was depends upon the search. You can see it whether 38th place the state, the California government spending educational fund, 38 or 34 depends upon the seat.
Right.
But why they are spending underspend? Why they are not spending for education is a key. Why New York is number one? Why California is 38? I'm really asking question. Every parent has to really think.
Right.
Why? Thing
Right.
is, we are not creating opportunities. We have to create opportunity to bring more, like I said, right? The college counseling or the emotional, social, we need a more, this kind of opportunity you have to create and show the value. I need this resource, I need this money. I can say, oh, you get only 350 million, not more than that because of the nature. No, I'm going to fight, I'm going to sit, whatever power, I'm going to take everybody's support, I'm going to get this required budget with the new initiative.
Right.
That's my goal. If I get elected in the board, I'm going to really do that.
Right. The funding has been one of those things that
Yeah.
is just so eye opening when people took us. I mean, it was a big. It became a big issue when they gave the retroactive pay raises, and people realized, like, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Where is this money going? I mean, the
Right.
superintendent's getting, this much money, and the teachers are getting this much. Like, how are we dealing with the budget appropriately?
I think that's a good thing. The budget is allocating. I think I'm not really questioning whether the superintendent deserve for that money, but the thing is, we need to look at it. We need to have a right talent, need to leadership to run it. Is it compensated is correctly? Is teachers or staff? I definitely look at it as long as it is a value added. I want to see that one. Because of other district pay, we pay. No, that should not be the case. But again, we need to look at it that area, making sure we really the competitive pay, retaining talent is always we can pay more if we see a produce a value result. That's why merit based.
Right.
Merit based.
I think everybody in the community would
Correct.
pay more if they had some kind of metric, merit based, like, hey,
Yes.
for every dollar you give,
Yes.
we know now that it equates to this much better teaching, this lower teacher to student ratio. I think everybody in the community would do that.
Correct.
I feel like at this point, people in the community are retracting a little bit because they don't feel like the money that they're spending or the money
Right.
that they're donating is going to those things, or they feel like, hey, you're spending so much money in
Right.
other places.
Correct.
I'm not going to keep funding the math department, or I'm not going to keep funding the water polo team,
Correct.
or the music program, because you should be funding that.
Correct.
And there needs to be more of a as you said initially, transparency with where the money is going.
Correct.
And make sure that the money that people are parting with, the donations they make for the
Right.
fun run or whatever,
Right.
actually go to the right places.
Correct. And another thing is, I was talking about how do we, because teachers are underpaid and they are not affordable housing, and I told them there are many programs we can work with the city, or how we can really get that affordable housing our teachers and staff, and we need to really look at it, because always any job you need to do better, you need a training. So you need to really allocate that kind of thing is. This need to be really well thought through to the job, provide this resource for teachers to really do their job. Some teachers will ask, some people will not ask. That's a very important thing is, I'm seriously looking into that one also. And the another thing is connection with the community leaders. That's a very key part. The connection with the community leaders, one is our PTA, ED funds, and
Sure.
all area they connected more people. There is a disconnect in the the Board of Education, how, because they say Board of Education cannot generate fund directly. They say only PTA had funded. I need to look at it more detail on this, but currently PTA at fund is there. We need to really have a connection and frequent interaction, meeting with them and understand how well they do, what support we can provide, or there are great idea they can share in between, because each PTA is different. They can at least the best knowledge and thing is they can share, they can do that. Then the local technology leaders, the local entrepreneur, see, we need to connect them. Unless you go and ask them, they are not going to really come and help you.
Right.
That's the one thing is I have it my next step. And the capital brings another thing is the technology thing also we can really well equip. Then we can if we have a technology equipped, your job you can do it really quick, much better. I always think, how can I do my job better than yesterday?
Right.
That's a mindset need to create everybody.
Right.
How is there any, do you need a tools, a technology, or a training, whatever you ask, you have to ask. You have to create this environment is like a collaborative way. Because if I go and ask, they are going to say, no, I don't want to bring it. That kind of, we need to be really said, hey, always we are here to help you.
Right.
You please bring it. I will make sure that happen. That need to be changed. The another point is what I was looking at, sharing a knowledge. So because some teacher is really, they do really beyond and over, they do well with the minimum support.
Right.
The other people get really struggle to do the job. How we can help that kind of sharing across the school district schools, right? That's one thing is we need to look at it, because I'm working only DVHS, I don't want to share things for Mounted, no, California High. But we need to see it the globally, somebody is looking how we can really sharing this one. That need to be motivated. That there should be always there should be award, recognition. It's very important. That really, that way automatically it will come. People will come forward and share and help the community.
Right, and that's a big piece. I do a lot, right?
Right.
I have my students. I have obviously this podcast. I have my family. I have my personal pursuits, and
Right.
the people I talk to people sometimes about it, because they say, well, you do so much, how do you get all these things done? I'm very, very efficient at the things I do, and
Right.
I'm very clear on, I have very specific systems in place,
Right.
and that allows me to get more done. If you had a teacher, say at Monte Vista or Santa Mona or wherever,
Right.
that somehow did more or got more done than other people, and that teacher wasn't necessarily spending twice as much time, you find out what those efficiencies are. Okay, how are you getting this done? How is it that you get out 50% more parent responses than everyone else? How are you
Right.
getting 50% more people past this AP test, right?
Correct.
What is it that you're doing, and how are you engaging when you're at work that produces those better results? And then, like you're saying, share that information.
Yes.
This is how I do it. This is the system I have in
Yeah.
place. This is how I respond to parents or respond to students, and that would allow people to all bring higher levels of efficiency. That would allow people to all improve, and it doesn't cost anything.
Correct.
It would just be utilizing the human resources we already have in
Correct.
place.
Yeah, I think that's the best known methods, sharing openly. Not only that, we have to recognize. That way, see, everybody knows, hey, he brought this great idea to help out. Then that really motivate other people to, there is a best way to do it. This one, man, thank God, that really helps now.
Right.
Now I'm doing better. That kind of thing is we need to bring it.
Gotcha.
I think is I'm looking forward to really more in that area, because I want to really make it more valuable for it. Always I ask the question whether is it adding. Well, if you look at it again, going back to one time when I was in Mason Sanus Elementary president, when I took the in charge, we had a lot of reserve in the unused, and I looked at it because they said a special project only used it. I made a motion and brought the money back, and I called his parents and teachers. If there was I know you have a great idea and thought. You may be thinking we don't have money because we don't budget, but I'm really working to generate donation from the contribution match closely. So I created the way what I did was parents match a contribution that really closely followed up match the corporate match. That's one way I raised money fund. Second, we constantly small group of people look for the parents company where they work. They can volunteer for our program. They can volunteer hours converted to dollar. We got money doubled.
Right.
So we raised really good amount of money. Then I had a really good money. Then I called the principal teachers. Then we talked about it. One of the things is I told them, I want you to really look at it. Ask yourself, this is adding a value to student educational value. Please bring it. My vote is there. Indirectly, you are discouraging. If something you want to buy some cabinet and sitting there, no, we are not funding.
Right.
So I made it very clear. Surprisingly, we were able to do it. There are a lot of the science lab upgrade, library filled with the $10,000 books.
Look at you.
Then keep because library is a great resource.
Right.
Then the librarian hours were reduced. He was reduced. Then I said we retain the librarian. Then if you name it, science olympiad, math olympiad, science count, and there are so many things. We brought it in the field trip and Granny award. So many things we funded, and music across every class music we hired out, counseling. So those things we funded, and not only that, even the physical education. Then teachers are get extra money for the resources. Then in the copier machine, the warranty, parents may not be knowing. They get that homework. That printing is much faster. We bought that the copier machine for. We funded so many things.
Right, and that's because you just paid attention to who the parents were, where the parents worked. You reach out to them, so it was a return. It wasn't a return on an investment from money. It was just a return on time and attention. If you just knew where to pay attention and you knew how to talk, all of a sudden you have better library service, you have better science service, you have music services, counseling services. All of that stuff comes from somebody who has their eye on the ball.
Yeah, and not only that, even one of the time I was in a parliamentary and one of the board of the PTC board, one parent came and asked, hey, I'm going to bring the speech and debate program for kids. Then somebody asked how many kids is going to benefit, 20 kids or 40. Then they said, oh, this is a very minimal, I don't think. She asked for just advance, not for even fund. Then they said they don't want to really fund it. I was a parliamentarian, I was listening. Then I said, at the end, I said, I just want to share my thought. So there is a parent coming forward and doing that program. I want to see it. The speech and debate is critical for our students. And this is a pilot program. Let's see how that goes. And if it goes good, we'll fund next year. If not, we can take it out. Nothing wrong.
Right.
I want to give the opportunity to motivate people to bring more programs.
Right.
And if anybody has a concern, please share your thought. Obviously, whoever raised concern, they stopped it. We said we will fund, but even they didn't use that $2,000. We brought the program in the school. It was a very popular. I think 70 plus kids really got benefited. And now, if you look at the missions and say that area, there are a lot of kids benefited, including my kid. My son was he was a Kumar Nallusamy. He's a national champion LD. I never thought he is going to be in the debate program too, but he was last year speech and debate DVHS president as well. He did really. He is very passionate.
Right.
And not only that, because if anything is adding a student's educational value, you need to really bring this to school, that really going to help them, because how really connect with this kind of skills, knowledge and thought, we need to really help them local, our PTA or yet fund this group, how they can really generate more fund for schools.
Right. The whole issue with equality and equity,
Right.
well, excuse me, not the whole
Yeah.
issue, but one of the issues is just like you pointed out. You said, okay, well, look, this program will only be able to support, let's say, 30 students, and that's not enough students. Not
Yeah.
everyone will have access to it. So all of a sudden people say, well, if not everyone gets access to it, then we can't have the program. But like you pointed out, look, this is just a pilot program.
Correct, yeah.
How about we give to the 30 students?
Right.
And then as the community sees the value of the
Yeah.
program, if there's more interest, then we'll fund it. But
Yeah.
we don't have to only go with programs
Correct.
where everyone at any point can go into it, because how many students will want to go? Well, we don't know, probably not everyone. So let's start small with these programs.
Correct.
Let's build the value in the community.
Right.
And then we can start building up on, funding them or producing more resources for them or something. But at the very least, just start, right? Because
Right.
I don't think there's a big concern right now, especially in public education, with parents with special interests and resources to fund them
Right.
taking over our public schools. So, for instance, you want a speech and
Right.
debate program,
Right.
and it's very important to you, and you think it's great. And
Right.
you go out and you raise $10,000, and you say, hey, I have $10,000, we're going to make a speech and debate program. Well, the other people at the school say, well, my kid doesn't like speech and debate. How did you earn $10,000 in this school's name where my kid won't benefit?
You're
And
right.
you say, no, your kid can come and do the speech and debate. He said, well, I don't want my kid doing that. I want my kid, playing lacrosse, or I want my kid playing music or something
Right.
like that. There's a big concern
Correct.
with people not all having access to it, or people hijacking it, but we have varied interests, right?
It's-
We don't have to have 400 people in a speech and debate club.
Right. I think you brought a good point, because this is a nature of each student or kid is a really unique talent, and some of them may be good on art, some of them may be good on math, some of them good on speech and debate, or some of them, because when the kids are young enough, you have to provide this environment opportunity. They can go and try whether it is works, even sports, any sports you can bring. Then kids can, somebody running is good, somebody is
Swimming
yeah,
or
swimming,
anything.
track,
Sure.
anything. Everybody's talent is better. Some kids is biking. So there are, nature is a different way of, every kid is talented. There is no doubt. Every student is talented, but how do you really help them to success in such a way? This is where it's not like the PTA president only can bring certain program. The parent has to come forward. Even one of the PTA president was asking, hey, when I was saying I'm running, and she asked me, so how do you think we can involve more community leaders to PTA yet fund decide, because I really hard to bring them.
Right.
But the thing is, you have to reach out them and explain them, and some of them have a time, some of them they can have a money to help, some of them can provide a support. Hey, I know that artificial intelligence architect I know, or I'm just giving.
Right.
You can connect, or a technology support person I can connect you. See, there are
Right.
3 ways to connect. You have to really reach out to them.
Right. You just have to just try.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
put the effort in.
Yeah, and another thing is, just want to bring it. One of the thing is, I'm founded Ideal Kids, the non-profit organization. Is 10 years back when we founded for only the physical activities. Then we brought for the soft skills development also. So one of the Ideal Kids non-profit organization, we had a summer run program for this is in Fremont, San Ramon, Sunnyvale, Pleasant, and even Mountain House, Sunnyvale. All the cities we slowly increase. But the young kids, the focus is developing healthy habits. Then through various educational activities. So our program reached 7,000 plus students from pre-K to 8th grader. But the 9th to the senior, they can volunteer and help them. It is a part of the, if you look at it, it's public speaking, impromptu, and math, and the drawing competition. Even though we say essay writing, so all the thing is a competition, it is not really competition, because we give the platform for to come here. This is a motivational. So the one kid really get impacted, that is a satisfaction we get as a organization, help the kids impact. The area we focus more students, that is where my passion and support for the kids, how we can bring more and more. We connected with the technology leader during the pandemic. Every year we do that March 3rd week this program in Fremont. Then we do have a 4 weeks speech coaching program. And summer we have the summer run, 5 weeks program. Every kids participated, they get a trophy, some motivation. Otherwise, Sunday morning 8 o'clock you cannot bring them kids to the field. You have to have something. But the thing is, all the thing is really happened well before. But when the pandemic happened, then people said what to do. Then I have a great volunteer team, and they said, okay, let's do it remotely. Then we signed up for a Zoom, and we planned for a 6 weeks program. It's very surprisingly we did a fitness program for kids. Tuesday and Thursday is yoga for kids, and Friday for yoga for a teen and adult.
That's wonderful.
And Saturday, the people who are changing the world. So we brought multiple technology leader, and not only technology, we brought even the Mrs. Assemblyman Rebecca Khan also came one meeting. The kids can directly interact, understand, ask a question directly. The kids can ask any question to the leader, right?
Yeah, right.
One of the statement I remember, I think the Broadcom CIO, Mr. Andy Nallappan, came, and he was the kid asked it directly, what is the difficult moment for you? He was saying, he was all along is very well as supporting everything, but he was flying back to, because mom was sick, and he was in Hong Kong somewhere. He heard the news, his mom passed away. That was a difficult moment. The kid was so sad. It is the question the kids can ask anything to any leader.
Yeah, right.
But the second thing is, he asked, he one of the statement, I remember, if you are in a comfortable zone, you are not growing, you are not adding a value. You have to be really uncomfortable. That means you are really changing the world. That's why the current Board of Education, you have to be really making constant uncomfortable change. That means you are working, you are adding a value.
Right.
That's one thing is. And another thing is, I want to point out, Mrs. Rebecca Khan said, kids asked directly question, how you really progress in. I think she mentioned, hey, don't underestimate your power. Oh man, that's a powerful statement. The kids, it's not only students, any adult, it perfectly well, because everybody has a unique talent, unique power. You have to understand, you cannot underestimate your power. You have a power, you have a vision, you have a learning, you have to really work in that way. That's really powerful. I think so. We did have a really great program through that one. It was really great success. We are continuing to look for that, because I have a pleasure to work with a great team, and even this thing is it's not only I was just a listener, kind one of the parent, but still the team is a fantastic team. That's why I'm said when you go to this even the Board of Education as a board member, I work with a lot of difficult people, my IT industry. But I always tell everybody has a people are different, not the difficult people. You can work with, you can make impact our community impact.
Gotcha.
That's
Well,
yeah.
Kumar, thank you. Thank you so much for coming today. I feel like I got a massive education. It's great. Do you, I will post obviously your website in the link in the bio, but thank you so much for what you're doing. I mean, you're obviously bringing a tremendous focus to different aspects of the education that I don't think anybody else is touching on yet. So even no matter how it works out, hopefully that we can continue to draw on your expertise.
Definitely. I really request to all the students, parents, teachers, and staff who are listening, I would encourage please pass on this message to your network, and I really request your vote. Please go and cast your vote for Kumar Nallusamy from October to November 3rd. I'm committed to serve you all. That's again, I strongly believe as a team we can make a change. Again, your voice is my voice. Build trust and transparency. Thank you for listening. Really appreciated. Please visit my website Kumar for SRVUSD.com. Thank you again. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Thanks, everybody.